Today, I'm going to try to beat a Hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon White 2 with only Ground-type Pokemon. When first introduced in Gen 1, ground types were rather lackluster on the whole, often unfortunately being paired with the rock type, leading to an abundance of weaknesses, and even a few 4 times weaknesses too. In the generations since though, the ground type has been paired with some really unique typings, creating a host of really cool ground type Pokemon, many of which are potential encounters for today's challenge, although Landorus will of course not be allowed since it's a legendary and, well, the bane of millions of competitive players' existence. Let's see if we can beat Pokemon White 2 with only the first ground type that we find on each route, no items in battle, level caps in place, and the battle mode on set at all times. And if you love Pokemon like me, then you'll love today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends, a wicked free-to-play RPG game for both mobile and PC with over 650 champions to collect and use in battle, unfathomable and challenging bosses to try to defeat, and intense strategy to set up your champions in a way that best suits the challenges you're facing and get the victory. Raid also has amazing PvP where you can fight against other players' teams in turn-based battles. A few tips to help you excel. Speed is king, so use artifacts, skills in battles, and buffs to help you outspeed the opponent. Bring a strong nuker too, a champion that can unleash a huge blow to all opposing champions. Don't forget about a champion with the aura skill ability, which will increase the stats for your entire team when in battle. Finally, make use of debuffs to lower the opponent's stats. Most of all, have fun experimenting to see what works best for you. And in Valentine's month, love is of course in the air, even in the world of Raid. New players can enjoy a special Valentine's Day themed adventure with the Raid Love Quest, running from February 14th to March 14th. All you need to get involved is to download Raid from the link below, copy your in-game player ID, and then head to raidlovequest.plarium.com. There, enter your player ID and set out on this heartfelt quest. Play one of the Valentine's minigames for a chance to win some fantastic in-game and real-life prizes, including Valentine's Day themed champions and even Amazon gift cards worth up to $1,000. Existing players can share in the love too with a special promo code SaintValentine23 that everyone can use to get a small Valentine's gift. But there's more. New players use my link or scan the QR code right here and get a free starter pack with this cool in-game loot. Thanks to Raid for sponsoring our channel, and let's get into the run. Alright, it's time. Juniper, take me to the Unova region, baby. Oh dear lord, please tell me that thing doesn't have skill link. I'm terrified. Ah, the beautiful Unova. Oh, there's grass everywhere! Sorry, it's just gonna be a worse nightmare this run, so I'm testing my fight or flight response. Oh, come on, what is this bedroom even? You know those memes about parents not knocking on your bedroom door before coming in? Well, how about just the total absence of a wall? How do you like that? Now, given that the first potential ground-type encounter isn't available until the second gym, we're going to use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to change our starter to a Sandshrew to kick things off, in place of Tepig, so our rival gets the Water-type Oshawott for an extra challenge. I nicknamed Sandshrew Boomy, and without even getting to say hi to the damn thing, Hugh challenges us to battle, and this was a mistake, wasn't it? Look at that moveset. Regardless, since he thankfully doesn't have any water-type moves yet, we pulled through for the victory. In the mart nearby, Bianca gives us some Pokeballs, meaning our run has officially begun, but no more encounters for the time being. Checking out Boomy, it turns out he's got a careful nature which gives him plus special defense stats and minus special attack. Hey, not bad at all. It seems our nature curse might have been lifted from the last run we did. Oh hey look, it's the former champion of the Unova region. Hey, why you sniffing me, man? At level 7, we learn a move that just might be a run saver rollout. Thanks, youngster Petey. You f***ing imposter. You'll never be like Joey. Now, the mandatory trainers up ahead were actually incredibly nerve-wracking with things like Pansage and Panpour, but thankfully at this point they don't yet have their super effective same-type attack bonus or stab moves, or else they would have ended us. Although things like Paralysis sure didn't help our cause. Meeting back with Mr. Sniff, he decides that we smell good enough to be awarded with some Oran Berries, always crucial early in game. Our good fortune doesn't quite end here though, as on this route all there are Patrat and Purloin, perfect for giving us attack and speed EV training until we reach the level cap. Up next, our first gym challenge, the Aspertia City Gym. I really don't feel like going back to school right now, so let's skip ahead to the gym leader, Charon, the normal type specialist. His team is never a guarantee unless you're doing like a rock or fighting run, I suppose, but I'm feeling pretty okay about it this time with a secret plan. He leads with a Patrat, and I bait him into charging up with Work Up by charging up our own Defense Curl. Not only am I trying to increase our defense, but if you use Defense Curl on the turn immediately before you use Rollout, it doubles Rollout's power, allowing us to take him down in 2 attacks, only taking 1 tackle in the meantime. In comes his ace, Lillipup, and as expected, he tries to use Work Up as well before getting obliterated in 1 hit by a 240 power boulder to the face. Boomy, you absolute savage. Quite a way to get our first badge. For winning, Bianca gives us the return TM, and hey, wait, did you get a gift receipt? You know, in case I want to return it? Okay, terrible puns aside, she also gives us the Sea Gear, which weirdly enough is going to be key for our next encounter. People always think the past or the future would be so wonderful, but the time we're spending with Pokemon is right now. You know, I'd usually think this was corny, but after experiencing Legends Arceus, I think this dude's got a point. In no time, we arrive at our next destination, Verbank City, where Roxy and her father are apparently fighting in the middle of the street.
Calm down.
Perfect time to go comfort ourselves with a nice silk scarf to boost our normal type moves, huh? Oh, and we can also get the Thief TM here, which we can use to get type boosting items off wild Pokemon, which we will be able to use for the soft sand on a later encounter of ours, ironically enough. But where's our next encounter, you might ask? Well, we can find it using the game sync function of the Sea Gear to access the Dream World. We're in the Icy Cave, which is available as a default area with no badges required. We can get none other than a Baltoy, which I nicknamed Longshot and who has a serious neutral nature. One of my favorite underrated Pokemon, actually. Up next is the second gym, the Verbank Gym, and it's giving me terrible memories as it's reminding me of the fact that I recently lost out on seeing one of my favorite bands. Tickets sold out a month and a half before the concert. Well, at least I can see these tools perform and take out my anger with Longshot's super effective Zen Headbutt against their poison types. And even if they use Disable, we just learned Psywave too, so we came prepared. The second gym leader is Roxy, the poison specialist who normally causes some big trouble, but you know what? I think Longshot's gonna be a savior here, as she leads off with a coughing. Now, I had attached a Pecha Berry because getting poison doubles the power of her Venoshock, but it turns out we didn't need it against coughing at least, as Longshot wipes her off the map in 1 Psywave. Damn. In comes the big threat though, Whirlipede, which immediately hits us with a super effective Assurance, but Longshot tanks it quite well and smacks her to half with a Psywave and gets the Confusion. But on the next turn, she makes it through for another attack to take us below half. But no crit, so another one gets the job done. You know, maybe you're not such a long shot after all, you little Beyblade. 2 badges down. But we can't celebrate long as we're forced to attend my least favorite place in the entire... Pokestar Studios. More like Pokey stab me in the face. Hours of endless torture later, and we at least get a nice boat to cruise the hell away from there, arriving in the beautiful Castelia City. I'll never forget how much this place blew me away on my first playthrough. Oh jeez, you scared me. Wait a minute, the Quick Claw actually might be handy with slow ground types. You're forgiven. Hello, this is Game Freak. Is this where you've been hiding the remaining Pokemon? Where's the National Dex? Where's the Kingdra line in Scarlet and Violet? Where are they? Well, it seems our criminal streak isn't ending anytime soon, as I next decide to lie to a woman by telling her that we chose Tepig as our starter in order to get the charcoal item, which will be great for a future encounter of ours. Now, when I think of video games and the adventures that I want to have, I mostly want to explore the inside of sewage systems for hours on end. Okay, normally I remark how awesome it is to be able to get the leftovers items so early in game, but I just realized, leftovers in a sewage system? I shouldn't have touched that. Not only that, but we can also find a room that very much represents the state of my life right now. And the Twisted Spoon to boost the power of psychic moves, great for Longshot. Funnily enough, while planning my encounters, this didn't even occur to me. You can technically access a small part of another hidden area down here, the Relic Passage, which actually hosts another encounter for us. It's a 5% chance, so it took a while to find, but it ends up being an Onyx, which I was going to name after the boulder from Avatar, but she's female, so Boldera it is. Boldera has a naughty nature, plus attack, and minus special defense. Interesting. That's not bad, to be honest. Not only that, but the perfect item to equip her with is here too, the Hardstone. Let's go. Visiting Route 4 north of Castelia quickly to fill up our Pokedex for a particular reason, we can grab yet another encounter, this time a Sandile, which I nicknamed June and who I noticed has the Intimidate ability. Moxie's great too, but honestly Intimidate is probably one of my favorites. She's also got a docile neutral nature, which I'll certainly take. For having seen 40 Pokemon, we can pick up a special reward in a nearby building from this scientist, the Eviolite, to boost the defenses of unevolved Pokemon. And we have a perfect candidate, don't we? Speaking of which, it's time for the next gym, the Castelia one. Bug is an interesting matchup for us, resisting ground, but not only that, a lot of them in here are part grass type too. Even though it's 4 times super effective against Boldera, with the Eviolite attached, we tank them relatively well as physical attacks and can of course respond with a stab super effective smackdown for the KO. Along the way through the trainers, we have our very first evolution as our starter, Boomy, fully evolves into a Sandslash at level 22. Quite an early one and might be crucial. The third gym leader is Berg, the bug specialist, and okay, good work back there in the sewers is a very strange way to greet someone, sir. His team is terrifying for ours, but I think we have one singular answer for it, if we can pull it off. He leaves with a Sawaddle, and I send out our newly evolved Boomy. I go for Defense Curl right away, and he uses String Shot to lower our speed. Not great, but now I use Double Power Rollout for 2/3, then he String Shots again. I was like, alright, that's not bad. But this allows him to outspeed us with the super effective Stab Razor Leaf, but Boomy's defense is crazy, so another hit takes him down. In comes the big threat though, his ace, Leavanny. This all depends on if he gets a crit Razor Leaf or we miss Rollout, but he doesn't and we don't, so a super powered, super effective attack demolishes him. Nice. His final Pokemon is Dwebble, and ironically enough, it has the Sturdy ability, so technically it survived our 5th one, a 960 base power attack. But his best move against us is Struggle Bug, so we survive on 31 HP and can slam him with a Magnitude for the guaranteed accuracy knockout and the win for our 3rd badge. Whew. Missing Rollout or getting crit might have ended our run straight up, so there was a little bit of luck required there. As if smacking around a Dwebble repeatedly wasn't bad enough, Colress decides to harass a bunch of Crustle up ahead too, so we have to end him. Normally, Steel types are incredibly difficult to deal with this early on for a lot of teams, but Boomy with Magnitude was able to demolish both his Magnemite and Clink with relative ease, not even taking any damage. Legend. Colress also gives us protein for winning? My man's been lifting.
Go, baby! Go!
The next area, one that's exclusive to White 2, has some amazing things in store for us, such as the Light Clay item to extend the duration of Reflect and Light Screen, some citrus berries from a weird karate dude, which are hard to come by in this game, and also one of the best TMs in the game for our team, Dig. Not only that, but ahead in the Desert Resort we can get probably the best item in the game for us, the Soft Sand to boost ground moves. Wicked. The haul doesn't end yet though, as this part of the Desert Resort is the only place we can find our next encounter, a Trapinch, which evolves into one of my favorites. Again, I was going to go with Guan, but it's female, so I name her Guana. It actually kinda works, as Flygon is close enough to an iguana looking thing, right? She also has a bashful neutral nature, perfect for a potential mixed attacker. It's Join Avenue time, and I can't possibly manage everything. Yeah, I don't think I could manage that many girls either, my dude. Alright, it's time for the race of the century, and oh, photo finish! Usain Bolt is trembling. That race has us arrive in Nimbasa City where the next gym is, and where all the excitement is, evidently. The Poke Center here does have some great TMs, but we're gonna need some more money first. So, might as well turn to the Pokemon equivalent of steroids, the Macho Brace, to double the EVs we get on Pokemon that hold it. You know how Autono is great for XP grinding in these games? Well, imagine how much XP this thing would give. Alright, it just occurred to me how weird the gym situation is in this city. You first have to take on a bunch of trainers in this building that was the gym in the originals, but then you have to go to a new model runway building where there are more trainers. So weird. Boomy was definitely able to blow through them though. During the process, we had another great evolution as June evolves into a Krokorok. Quite the cool looking Croc, and should also be very handy with that dark typing. The 4th gym leader is Elisa, the electric specialist, and, well, boy oh boy, do we ever have an ideal team setup for this. She leads with an Emolga, which is part flying type of course, so I lead with Boldera, the perfect answer. While we have the opportunity, I use Rock Polish, as the best that she's got against us is Pursuit, although she did crit us, but on the second turn we now outspeed to slam her with Smackdown for 3/4. Knowing she's not doing much on us, I set up Stealth Rock too, before eventually tagging her with another to get the knockout. Next up is Flaffy, and after the Stealth Rock damage combined with a stab super effective 80 power dig, that thing ceases to exist. Her final Pokemon is her ace, Zebstrika, and after the Rock Polish we can outspeed even it, smashing her with a dig as well with the help of hazard damage. Unbelievable. Normally she gives us a hell of a lot of trouble. With this momentum going, in my head I'm starting to think we might be able to get our 3rd ever Deathless Monotype Hardcore Nuzlocke. And of course we have to catwalk with her to get out of here. In the city, this football player tells us that there's 2 places to watch sports, the big stadium or small court. Well, obviously, as a big boy, we're gonna go to the big stadium. Oh wait, no, anything but this, please. I deeply apologize for being forced to put you through this, Boldera. Very pretty though. Crossing the Driftvale Bridge, we arrive in, well, what the hell do you expect? I mean, it's Driftvale City, people. Here lies one of my... Well, he's not dead, I should say. Here exists one of my favorite people, the dude who gives you the expert belt. Wicked. With that in hand, I'm feeling confident to take on the next gym right away. As it turns out, June is a monster in here, being able to take down all the Baltoy in here with her stab moves, and the expert belt at this point was just kinda overkill if I'm honest. The 5th gym leader is Clay, our ground type arch nemesis, and we must assert dominance here, although he has a powerful team. One problem being, he leads with a Krokorok with Intimidate, but I get Long Shot out there. Looks terrifying, I know, but it's just to take the Intimidate and bait the dark type move. That way I can go safely into our own Krokorok to not only intimidate him, but also resist his incoming crunch. Beautiful. Here I hit him with a crunch of our own, as he then just lands a bulldoze for a 3rd and lowers our speed. That crunch was just to bring him in range of a dig though, and to avoid the potential Torment, which he did use. Funny thing is, as Sandslash now comes in, Torment doesn't really matter, as we have an equally powerful move in Crunch, although he hit us to nearly half with a super effective Fury Cutter first due to our speed drop. Fury Cutter does get stronger every turn though, so I have to switch and play it safe. I decide to go into Boomy here, as we have now had a Krokorok v Krokorok and Sandslash v Sandslash battle. And I used Defense Curl here, and he went for Rollout, which I know he's locked into now. We tank all of his moves quite handily, so here I go for a few digs and a slash to take him down even through his hyper potions, as we end up at 2/3 or so. In comes his ace though, Excadrill, a wickedly powerful Pokemon, but our defense curl allows us to tank Metal Claw well, and Stab super effective dig instantly pulverizes him for the victory. Man, who would ever talk down on Sandslash? This thing's a monster, at least in the early game so far. With the Pokemon World Tournament now open, we could grab an item I think might be quite handy for ground types, especially the Rocky Helmet. And I must be seeing double, as there's another Rocky Helmet available right nearby in the north of the Relic Passage. I don't know if this was an oversight by Game Freak or not, but I'm not complaining. I love utilizing these things in battle. Now, at the regional tournament itself, we had a very close call. Not only did we have to deal with Hugh's now evolved Duat, which thank God we got a crit on, but I forgot at this point he now has a fully evolved Simisage too. I had no choice, so I stayed in, and Seed Bomb slammed us hard below a third before Crunch wasn't able to finish him off. Knowing Boomy's quite defensive though, I switch him in, and he tanks one above half, then the second one brings us to just 16 HP in the red before we get the Slash KO. Sheesh, that was close, but Longshot could Ancient Power his Tranquil from there at least. As if he hasn't annoyed us enough, Hugh tells us up ahead that the region is reaching minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, so standard Canadian winter then? What? So he tells us the region is frozen and then gives us an HM to be able to travel across water. Thanks, buddy. Oh, you little. Yeah, you usually scare me, but now with this team, I'll f*** you up, you steel type. Yeah, you better run. Speaking of steel, in the Chargestone Cave nearby we can find a pivotal item for this run, the Metal Coat. And no, not just to boost steel type moves. But before that, we also have another encounter in here, as exclusively in the dust clouds that form we can find a Drillbur, which I catch and nickname Opal. Opal has a hasty plus speed and minus defense nature, and honestly, anything plus speed I'll take. And also, the Sand Force ability to boost attack power in sandstorms. Wonderful. A short journey later and we arrive at the next gym location, Mistralton City. Mommy? Oh, sorry, Professor Juniper, how are you? Okay, I think this is the first time I've ever seen these flowers sprouted. Oh, no wonder. They're planted right beside an airport tarmac. After picking up some cool TMs like the X-Scissor TM from Route 7 and also the Shadowclaw TM from the Celestial Tower, it's time for the 6th gym, Mistralton's, where we not only get body slammed by the gym butler dude, how exciting, but we can also use Boldera to great effect in here against all the flying types. During the process, we have what might be tied with our largest evolution haul of all time, which ironically enough happened in our very last run. As Guana evolves into a Vibrava, one of my favorite middle stage Pokemon ever, Longshot also evolves into a Claydol, which should add some really good bulk to our team, and Opal doesn't want to miss out on the fun and evolves into a monster Excadrill. And I waited until level 33 so she'd learn both Earthquake and Swords Dance ahead of time. Let's go. But there's one remaining evolution, as I did a trade back with Boldera and the Metal Coat attached to get a beastly Steelix. Holy cow, what a ridiculous team upgrade we just had. It's time for the 6th gym leader, the flying specialist Skyla, and while theory crafting for this battle, I've realized just how little type coverage we have and how little status potential we have too. But I came up with our best plan and went for it. She leads with a Swoobat and I get June out there to match. Intimidate helps us against acrobatics, and here I use Torment so she can't use the same move twice in a row. With her lowered attack, I now feel safe switching into Longshot here against Assurance, which now doesn't do much, especially after leftovers are factored in. Now she has to alternate moves, so I use Cosmic Power to raise her defenses twice in a row. Not wanting to be greedy though, I start attacking her with Ancient Power, just hoping for the Omni boost, but we don't get it into attacks, although we do take her down at least. In comes a massive team threat though, Swanna. But with our raised defenses, I stay in, and we do tank Bubble Beam relatively well. Although after our Ancient Power, her Citrus Berry brings her to just outside KO range. Damn, I'm forced to switch, but into what? I end up deciding on Opal, but Bubble Beam immediately does over half. Goodness gracious. Well, this is it. With literally nothing else to switch in at this point, I know I have to try and outspeed and hope that the 90% accuracy Rock Slide hits, and it does, taking down that damn threat once and for all. Whew. But she still has one remaining Pokemon, a Skarmory of all things. Yup, we have absolutely no type coverage against this thing at all, and not only that, but she instantly crits us with Steel Wing down to just 24 HP. And we miss Rock Slide. Are you kidding me? Well, I know what I have to do. I send in another Gen 2 wall to counter her, Boldera. This was a crazy back and forth, but with the Rocky Helmet attached, we could repeatedly slam her with Rock Slide, and after a 2-minute back and forth, Boldera eventually emerges the victor with just 44 HP left. That was a wild battle, but we pulled through fairly well I think, given the circumstances. Oh boy, I can't wait to head off to Lentimus Town and get out of this place. This is definitely one of the coolest looking places in the game, and to match, it's got one of our coolest encounters too, as in the exterior of Reversal Mountain we can find a Numel, which I catch and nickname Oma. Oma's got a lax plus defense and minus special defense nature, which I'll take. Boy, it sure would have been great to have this for that damn Skarmory. I'm actually gonna replace Boomy for now, since fire coverage is definitely much needed. Quickly grabbing the hidden Shadow Ball TM beside the spooky house that I will not be entering, we arrive in a bit more of a tropical and friendly location, Undella Town.
Okay, get in.
Here we can find an interesting item, the Draco Plate, which should be great for Guana. Wait, they didn't put this here to reference Cynthia's Garchomp, did they? Well, we have a big challenge up ahead, so beforehand I make sure to grind up a bit, during which we had a wicked evolution as June evolves into a crocodile, which I can't wait to use. Not only that, but Oma also evolves into a Camerupt, an original candidate for my channel mascot, and I waited until level 43 for Numel to learn Flamethrower, as it's the only way she can learn it until basically Victory Road. She also has the Solid Rock ability to reduce super effective damage, which I must say is solid. With that, it's time for another rival battle as Hugh challenges us to battle with an increasingly frightening team. Thankfully though, he leads with an Unpheasant, which allows us some time to strategize, as I sent out our newly evolved June for the Intimidate. Between Protect and Razorwind charging, he got no damage on us, going down in 2 crunches. Now that's what I like to see. In comes what has otherwise been a brutal threat for us, Simisage, but now we have an answer as I send out Oma, who tanks 2 seed bombs on 38 HP and unleashes an unholy flamethrower to incinerate him. But in comes Hugh's now fully evolved Samurott. However, I noticed something. Thankfully at this point he only has physical moves on it, with his best being Aqua Jet, so I switch in Boldera for the super high defense and Rocky Helmet recoil and try to avoid putting him in torrent range by using Dig. Although we got a huge crit on us to just 38 HP, but since we were underground he thankfully couldn't torrent boost super effective stab Aqua Jet us into oblivion and we made it through. Man oh man. A long time ago, the giant chasm was created when a big meteorite fell from the sky. Bullshit! It was an alien spacecraft, Deborah. You can't just believe everything the Poke media tells you. Now, Lacunosa Town is a beautiful place, but it kind of feels like wasted potential, as literally all there is here is the metronome item, a guy who gives you a couple berries, and some TMs at the Pokemon Center. That is it. Alright everyone, you know what time it is. It's time for the Village Bridge, to rematch against the guy who killed our Crocodile in our Dark-type run, Gentleman Stonewall. In a fit of absolute rage and vengeance, I send out our perfect counter this time around, Oma, who incinerates his Durant and Lucario with ease. Take that, you old bastard. Oh, not you too. Stay back, bully. I won't be intimidated. I have Oma this time. Otherwise, yes, I will admit, you'd end me. Running from that nonsense, we arrive in Opelucid City where the next gym is. During our preparation, we have a wicked evolution as Guana evolves into a Flygon, one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. And as it turns out, hitting up the Opelucid gym, it's a dragon one, and having gotten Dragon Pulse from the move tutor, Guana goes on a slaughter through the trainers with super effective power, and Boldera was a great backup too, resisting the dragon type after all. The 7th gym leader is Drayden, and for this, I think we have the perfect answer. Guana, and with our speed investment, and the fact that Drayden merely has a negative priority Dragon Tail move as a counter, we're able to sweep through all 3 of his dragons with a 90 power stab super effective expert belt boosted Dragon Pulse. I'm really liking this mixed attacker idea after all, because his Pokemon's special defense is a bit lower, and that's a large part of the reason why this was possible. 7 badges. Upon leaving the gym, a giant floating pirate ship begins to shoot ice all over the city. Oh, come on, in the middle of summer too? This is a Canadian's worst nightmare. We take these rare months very seriously. Well, fortunately enough, I found the perfect way to counter Zinzalin, one of the Plasma Sages, as I went back to the Dripvale move tutor to teach Opal the Iron Head move, allowing us to shatter his 2 Cryogonal and his Weavile with 0 problems. Quite the counter, I must say. Not only that, but our team is perfect against the Shadow Triad too, as they have Steel and Dark types, which a lot of our Pokemon resist, so a choice like June is perfect to smash through them, although I did forget about the Poniards having Defiant, so raising their attack with Intimidate wasn't ideal. Making our way to the final gym through the awe-inspiring Marine Tube. No way! We got the Wailord! It's a really rare Pokemon to find in here. You even get a medal for seeing one. Damn, is this ever cool. Well, we've arrived. The final gym location, the beautiful Humalau City. And I gotta be honest, on the face of it, this gym might be the scariest of all. Fortunately, we have one singular Pokemon not weak to water, Guana, who was able to help us make it through the gym trainers themselves relatively safely, although we did have some close calls. The 8th gym leader, Marlin though, well, that's another matter entirely. After theory crafting forever, I came up with a plan that was quite elaborate, so bear with me here. Marlin leads with a Caracosta, and I lead with what you'd least expect me to, Oma. Yup, that's right, we're just straight up gonna land a yawn, then get hit with a 4x super effective Stab Scald. But I had attached a Focus Sash we got from the Battle Subway, so we survive on 1 HP. And I knew this was safe as we couldn't get burned as a fire type either. From here, I now switch into Boldera, knowing since we're in KO range, he'll use any random move that will kill, and my plan works as he goes for Crunch, which we not only resist, but it also activates a Rocky Helmet. So now his sturdy ability is broken and he falls asleep. Let's go! Here, I can now switch into Opal and get the Swords Dance off, but suddenly he wakes up, but just goes for Shell Smash thankfully, and as slow as he is, we can still outspeed with the +2 Earthquake KO. Holy, close one at the end there. From here, with a +2 100 power Stab Earthquake from a base 135 attack Pokemon, neither his Wailord nor his Jellicent had a hope of surviving, winning us the 8th badge. I can't believe that strategy worked, but I'm pretty happy about that one. With all 8 badges in hand,
We're in the end game now.
I decide it's time to grab our next encounter just in case on Route 11, which ends up being a Gligar, which I catch and nickname Jet, and who has a plus defense and minus speed nature. Kind of meh, and I'm gonna leave him in the box for now as we can't evolve him until we get the Waterfall HM unfortunately, but it's good to have as a backup. Ahead on the Plasma Frigate, it turns out that Longshot is the perfect answer to almost all of Team Plasma's Pokemon, as they have poison types which just get dominated by both our types in fact. The Giant Chasm is next upon us, and here we have another encounter, this time a Piloswine, which I catch and nickname Haru. Haru has a quirky neutral nature, and I'm gonna leave him in the box for now too. Okay, I don't know why Daddy Zinzalin's trying to make everything so cold when he's so hot. Okay, never mind. Oh god, I led with the wrong Pokemon entirely. A Flygon sent out against an ice team. Yep, I'm an idiot. Opal, get out there and save us, please. Time for what is usually one of the scariest battles in the entire game, Colress, who also happens to be one of the coolest characters in the game too. Fortunately for us this time, he has a Steel-type team, so the planning wasn't too difficult, although I did rare Candy June to level 54 in order to get Earthquake on her, and also attached a Rostberry in case he happened to get a burn from Tri-Attack. Against his Magneton, I hit him with a Crunch to break his Sturdy, then got hit surprisingly hard with Flash Cannon before an Earthquake ended him. But as his Magnezone then came in, I was like, we very well might not survive another Flash Cannon. And here I was hoping to sweep him. Regardless, Opal is a great choice here, resisting the attack and responding with an Iron Head to break Sturdy again, tanking another attack to half, and then taking him down with Earthquake as well. In comes Behem, who could be a bit of trouble, so ultimately I decide to switch into June, which could be a risk if it's a crit, but that goes for all our Pokemon, and we survive on just 13 HP from the Energy Ball, so we can respond with a super effective Crunch for the immediate one-hit KO. Then in comes Klinklang, and this thing has a damn air balloon. But Boldera is a fantastic defensive counter, also giving him recoil damage on each Gear Grind hit. I accidentally misclicked into Dig here, and he shift geared like crazy, but fortunately missed his final attack, so after Iron Heading him to pop the balloon, I can now go for a Dig that will actually connect and finish him off. His final Pokemon is a Metang, and against a base 200 defense Pokemon, he just had no hope, as Dig does the job after Rocky Helmet damage. Not too shabby. The terrified people in Pokemon will bow at Team Plasma's, no, my feet. You hear that? Getsus likes feet.
Silence!
Nearly being killed by a series of flying pointy glaciers in the process, the legendary Pokemon duke it out as 3 of the most powerful trainers in the region watch. After taking down the hybrid legendary monstrosity, it's time for the final plasma battle against their leader, Getsus. And this is always a tough battle, but I planned as best as I could. He leads with a Cofagrigus, so I send out June. Knowing he can't do much against us, I actually set up the Sandstorm here as we get Toxicked. Then, after he Protect stalls us a bit, we can land a Crunch for the immediate takedown. As expected, this baits out the Seismitoad, a ridiculous threat for our whole team, but here I switch in Guana, who tanks Muddy Water above half. Here's the key. Using the move tutor, I taught him Giga Drain, which does 4 times damage, but still doesn't KO somehow. Are you kidding me? But the recovery from it allows us to be brought back to where we were at least, although with lowered accuracy. But not only do we make it through to connect another attack, but we also get the range I was expecting to take him down. Whew. In comes Hydreigon next, and with lowered accuracy, I am not risking this, so I switch in Boldera. Thankfully, he only has physical moves, so Boldera is a great answer, smashing him hard with Iron Head twice before he hits us a final time and knocks himself out with the Rocky Helmet recoil. In comes Drapion next, and here I know a sniper-boosted Earthquake would actually KO us, so I switch into Guana here for the Levitate prediction, which we get. Beautiful. Now I land a stab super effective dig, knowing even with Earthquake he can't hit us underground as we have Levitate, but we just barely don't KO in the red, and he hits a Night Slash and gets a sniper boosted critical hit to take us down immediately. Why? Why did this have to happen? We were getting so close to our third ever deathless run, and Flygon of all Pokemon? Oh. From there though, Opal can be sent out to outspeed and take that damn thing down. The threat's not over yet though, as in comes Electros, a Pokemon with no weaknesses because it has Levitate. So I switch into Oma to tank the incoming Flamethrower, then duke it out with him, being brought to a third in the process. In comes his final Pokemon, Toxicroak, and although it does have good coverage moves, Longshot is nonetheless a great answer, nailing him with a 4 times damage Psychic for the victory. Man oh man. Well, everyone welcome Haru to the team. Hitting up the Pokemon World Tournament, I can have the move reminder teach Haru Ancient Power, meaning at the next level up he's able to evolve into a beastly Mamoswine. Gotta say, this is one of the tankiest looking teams we've ever had. Just monsters everywhere. Well, we've arrived. The final stretch, Victory Road, and make it through what is definitely one of the coolest looking gates in the series. Along the way we find a Dragon Fang. Okay, that's just depressing. After a while of using repels, I realized we technically have a final encounter near the entrance which we might as well pick up. A Golurk, which I catch and nickname Fong, but who I don't see being very useful from here on, so I'll box him for if we need him. Our final test in here is a rival battle against Hugh, and I actually thought for a while about how we could possibly beat his fully evolved Mystic Water Samurott with Surf, but eventually a possible answer came to mind. You see, he leads with an Unpheasant, so I lead with Oma. He went for Swagger but actually missed it, so I land a Yawn. Now I switch into Boldera as he hits a Facade, but that of course does nothing as he falls asleep. Here I use Sandstorm with the Smooth Rock attached to extend its duration, then I switch into Opal. Don't forget that Opal has Sand Force, but not only that, while he's asleep I also use Swords Dance to boost our attack power even further. But he wakes up and lands a Swagger. However, I had attached a Persimberry.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
All according to plan, as this means we now have a +4 135 base attack Excadrill with Sandforce activated, meaning there was no hope for all of his remaining Pokemon as they all get outsped and go down to Iron Heads and Earthquakes. Epic. That victory allows us to access the final frontier, the Unova Region Pokemon League. Getting up to the right levels and getting any remaining items and TMs we might need, it's time to do battle against the Elite Four. The first Elite Four member is Chantal, the Ghost-type expert. Honestly, not much theory crafting was required for this one, as I'm sure you can imagine. As exactly as I had hoped to have for our Dark run, this time our Crocodile actually survived to this point, so with the help of the Expert Bell we can annihilate her entire team with a stab super effective 80 power crunch, with her Cofagrigus being the only thing to survive one, meaning nothing else got damage on us at all. That's quite the start. The second Elite Four member is Grimsley, the Dark-type expert, and looking at his team, something stood out to me immediately, so I think we have an answer even despite his Intimidate Crocodile. You see, he leads with a Liepard, and it has no way to damage a Steel-type, so I lead with Boldera to get up Sandstorm. Here, I switch into Opal now with the Sandforce activation, but not only that, but her claim to fame is Attract, but since we're also female, it won't work. So it's time to power up with 2 Swords Dances, and we did actually get brought really low by a series of crits, but after our Citrus Berry heals us, we can then sweep through his entire team with Earthquake, and the -1 from Crocodile's Intimidate isn't even a factor at this point, as +3 with Sandforce is more than enough to finish off his last few Pokemon. Alright, I'm liking the looks of this so far. The third Elite Four member is Caitlin, the Psychic-type expert, and, well, I don't think any words are necessary here to be honest, besides maybe Crocodile, Expert Bell, Crunch. It nails her first 3 Pokemon. Man, this feels nice after losing Crocodile last time. Then her final Pokemon Gothitelle actually survives one somehow, but just went for Calm Mind as a final attack ends her career. Perhaps she'll have to retire back to her villa in Undella Town. The last Elite Four member is Marshall, the fighting expert, and one that has been absolutely devastating in our last few runs, to be honest, as he can be quite tough without the right answer, but I think we've got a reasonable plan to work with this time. You see, his Pokemon have a lot of Dark-type moves, so I lead with Oma against his Throw. This way we can tank his attacks and land a Yawn to put him to sleep, as of course that won't really activate his Guts ability if he's unconscious. Stalling out until he falls asleep, I can then switch in the legend Longshot. Knowing we outspeed, I feel safe going for a Cosmic Power to raise our defenses, then not wanting to be greedy, nail him with an Expert Belt boosted Psychic for the one-hit KO. In comes Mienshao next, which lands a high jump kick, but it doesn't do much at all, and we get another one-hit KO. Then his Sock comes in, which does have Sturdy, but because he outspeeds, that means Payback doesn't get the double damage. It still does a reasonable amount, and Sturdy allows him to get 2 off to bring us to less than a third, but then we can take him down. In comes his final Pokemon, his ace, Conkeldurr, and at this point, I'm hoping Longshot can pull through, and he does, taking that thing down in one hit even through its bulk. Longshot, you are a savage. Well, it's time. The final battle is upon us, the champion of the Unova region, Iris. Her team is wildly unpredictable and very versatile, with one major problem in particular, but after using our remaining rare candies, I think we just have to kinda throw what we've got at her. She leads with a monster Hydreigon. Sure would be great to have Guana at this point, but I lead with our newly caught Haru for his debut battle. With the Expert Belt attached, along with Ice Fang from the Move Tutor, he's able to demolish that thing in one hit. What power! As hoped, in comes the Druddigon next, since it does have super effective moves against us, but Haru is having none of it, outspeeding and giving it the same treatment too. But, as feared, in comes the bane of our existence, Lapras. I'm gonna be honest, we straight up have no reliable way to handle her, like at all. So I just try to switch into what gives us the most power at least, Opal. But she lands a 55% accuracy Sing to put us to sleep. Not good. Then Surf nails us to just 42 HP as we stay asleep. Uh-oh. Here I switch into Longshot, our bulkiest bet, but Ice Beam does over half on him. Oh. At this point, I realize what must be done, as I just go for Earth Power to get damage, and Longshot gets taken down by another. That sacrifice gives us some switch momentum though, as I send in Haru again to land our most powerful Earthquake, but it doesn't even do enough from that range as Lapras survives on a Sliver and lands a Stab super effective Surf. And I kid you not, Haru survives on just one singular HP and can smash her with 2 more attacks to KO. Unbelievable! Aggron was then of course a 4 times damage Earthquake KO without Sturdy, then in comes her ace, Haxorus. Well, we might as well go for it, as Ice Fang hits and gets a crit, but she has a Focus Sash, but gets frozen, but then thaws out immediately and ends Haru with a Dual Chop. What even was that sequence? That was nuts! With her having no more heals though, I can send June out for the easy KO. Then in comes her final Pokemon, Archeops. Not wanting any critical hit acrobatic shenanigans, I switch into Boldera, the perfect counter, absolutely untouchable by this thing's resisted moves, and a single stab super effective Iron Head annihilates it for the victory. That was an unreal battle. I can't even believe half of that just happened. Well, we did it. We beat a Hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Black 2 with only ground types, and what a journey it was with a wickedly powerful team, granted, but rather poor coverage and some dangerous situations throughout. I'd say honestly, Boldera was a surprising MVP with Opal, June, and Longshot carrying hard too. As always, make sure to subscribe to join the Sylph Army and get us to 250,000, and I'll see you guys next time for another challenge video.